Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the EGFH Season 1, Week 1 in Overwatch. If you missed it, the Ludlow Falcons took the victory against the Wilbercross Governors earlier, and now we're getting into the match between the Sheehan Titans and the Notre Dame Green Knights. I want to thank our sponsors, Yukon Gaming Club and the Yukon Gaming Club Yukon School of Engineering, for helping make this possible. Once again, my name is Kevin Navik-Dignan, and I'm joined by David Haunch-Chen.
Yeah, and just like the last set, these maps, the teams will be playing will start on Hanamura, then go to Nepal for map 2, then to Junkertown if the tiebreaker, follow up with Junkertown, and if the tiebreaker is needed, then we're going to go to Lijiang Tower.
So I expect, again, on the Hanamura being the first map coming up here, with, I believe, the Green Knights on defending, we should be seeing, once again, some Orisa play, probably some Junkrat, maybe even a Widowmaker. What do you think?
Yeah, we saw the Green Knights play last season, actually. Alex and this entire team, they actually placed second in the entire placements, and throughout the whole tournament they placed second overall. So Alex, definitely known for being that Widowmaker player. He was really good at getting these picks and kind of securing these games through the picks that he was using.
Yeah, and on the side of the Titans, we obviously have Kagazi with his Genji, which I am quite excited to see. A little, some skirmishes going on between Alex and Kagazi there with that Genji Widowmaker.
Yeah, and with this Genji, it means that they're probably going to have a really nice time in Nepal, with with heroes like Tracer and Genji. They're really good at making the picks on King of the Hill maps and being able to secure the point that way, especially since due to their amazing speed that they get through, the dashes and the blinks.
Yeah, along with, of course, the Lucio would be supporting them, probably by Sir Captain on the side of the Titans. And that we should see some coordinated, I would hope for some good coordination between both teams. And so what kind of team comps would you say we'd see on Hanamura typically, Haunts?
Generally on the attacking side, we usually mostly see dive compositions. We always see the D.Va, the Winston. Obviously not so much as last game, but on the defense, you mentioned the Orisa earlier. Orisa really good at holding that front gate of Hanamura, and being able to kind of secure there. And since Green Knights are defending here, with the Orisa being available on defense, that means Alex is going to have a really good time with this Widowmaker and his sight lines down throughout the whole plaza there.
Yeah, that definitely would make sense. And what do you think about maybe seeing a Roadhog to try and deal with the Widowmaker up in the higher grounds?
Definitely would like to see this Roadhog. Especially since some of the Green Knights, they are a bit more susceptible to stuff like Roadhog, since they mostly play stuff like McCree. Nothing too mobile in terms of their DPSs. So it would be good to deal with the Widowmaker. And I also would think that the D.Va pick would be also strong against this Widowmaker, being able to absorb shots with her defense matrix and being able to kind of just use her boosters, get straight into the Widowmaker's face and try to take her out.
Okay. And we are having a little bit of difficulty with one of the Green Knight members right now, but we should be getting into the game any point.
Yeah. But we last series, we saw the game close out in two, the match close out in 2 games. If we go into Junkertown later, what do you think would come out of these teams? I definitely think in the first point of Junkertown, Widowmaker has really good sight lines overall, but going into the second and third points, she has a bit more trouble.
Well, I am curious to see if either team here has a Bastion. As we've said in prior matches on Junkertown, that Bastion composition on the payload known as the pirate ship has been very effective in dealing with teams on that first point. And along with a Widowmaker on Alex, they could be absolutely unstoppable on attack.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. And with a very diverse, support lineup coming out from both sides. We have Monk here, who actually plays almost every single support outside of like Anna, and I really like the support meta currently. There's so much room for diversity in terms of different maps. We even see like even DPS, Sombra being able to hack health packs, and providing support that way. What do you think in terms of supports we will be able to see? I know that Moira is very popular recently.
Well, on maps like Hanamura, I'd be expecting to see probably a Lucio on attack, followed with the Moira, like you were saying. And we could even see a triple tank on the side of the attacking team, as it's fantastic at just pushing straight through with sheer amounts of health and sustainability onto that first point. So then it would fall on the defending team to group up and manage to keep themselves held.
Yeah, and even on Hanamura, like you said, that second point, a lot of the time we see heroes like Anna being able to kind of sit all the way in the back corner and shoot and control that top platform with that long sight range, with with her heals over time basically, and having a burst healer in situations like that is really, really important. And on the Titan side, we have heroes like Mercy, which is played a lot by Toxic Gerbil here. Mercy, even though she's fallen out of meta, her resurrections are still very, very strong, and being able to pop her ult for that chain healing, that chain damage boost is still very, very strong for team fights.
Of course, and she's still the top single target sustained healer in the game. So a lot of people tossed her out when she got nerfed, but that res can still come in those core moments, especially when defended by tanks. And Titans has some tanks behind them, with Mr. Mage primarily playing Winston, but I expect to see a fair bit of Reinhardt coming out from him, especially on Junkertown and Nepal.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. And it looks like we have finally resolved our technical issues, and we should be getting into game soon. But I'd like to point out one last thing on this Titan side. We have two players, Kagazi and Joey, both playing. Actually, Joey isn't currently playing right now, but Kagazi putting Pharah as his second DPS hero. Against players on the Green Knight side, like D-Boy, who plays McCree and Soldier as his primary DPSs. Do you see Pharah coming into play at all against these hit scan heroes, or would you rather see something else?
I think, especially against the hit scan with awesome skills on that Soldier, it would be interesting to see how Pharah played out for either team. But Alex decides to pick the Junkrat over the Widowmaker whilst attacking here on the first point, which I think we did expect to see some Junkrat, but I wasn't sure that Alex was going to pick it over the Widowmaker itself.
Yeah, I still respect this Junkrat pick, though. A lot of the time you pick Junkrat on this first point just because you know that Orisa is going to be dropping that shield on the first point right at the door, and Junkrat's really good with his bombs trying to tear that shield down, but it looks like Alex is just going to switch back over to that Widowmaker once they've had a bit more discussion on their team.
Yeah, with D-Boy on the Soldier, so it looks like they're going to try and group up and just try and build ultimates instead of just forcing their way through this choke point here. And on the side of the Titans, of course, we see that Orisa that we talked about, and we even see the Roadhog that we predicted would probably be played in this situation. Again, standing behind the Orisa shields and managing to pick off people with that hook, just single them out and make it an easy pick so that it's much harder for the...
Yeah, and as we go into this last 10 seconds of the defense preparation, on the attacking side, we have Alex on Widowmaker, Monk on Zenyatta, Haru on Zarya, Nerdy on Moira, Reyes playing Reinhardt, and D-Boy playing Soldier 76.
Exactly, and as we're going to get this round started now, we're going to see the Green Knights pushing into that point. Reyes playing very aggressively as he charges in, and by the looks of it, the Titans haven't even managed to hold that point. They choose to actually hold the high ground here, which could work in their favor, but we're going to see as the rest of the Green Knights get onto that point, and we're going to see, unlike last game, we're going to see a point now of actually being contested onto this first point on Hanamura.
Yeah, and going into this, it looks like they're just going to continue scrapping on the point here.
Yeah, and it is actually looking quite good on the side of the Titans here as Reyes falls to Mr. Mage. And it's going to be a huge play as their tank manages to go down. But Alex is sitting in that back and he's not being contested as he manages to get a few shots in but not find the picks.
Yeah, and it looks like, the Green Knights here are just going to choose to back out after a couple of picks from the side. What did you think about this Orisa setting up on the high ground instead of right in the doorway like we standardly see?
We haven't seen it too much of the last few games that we've seen on Hanamura, and it didn't seem to work out as well as they had planned, but we do see the big ultimate coming out from the Green Knights. The Zarya Graviton Surge, of course, coming out, managing to find 3 picks along with the Coalescence from Nerdy. And this does look like the Green Knights are going to be able to find their first point. And this may be the first time we get to see a second point on Hanamura today.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. Mercy looks like she just jumped off the edge to kind of regroup with her team onto the second point. And for the Green Knights, Hanamura is very important to be able to snowball these ultimates and get a lot of picks off because, you know, being able to assault that second point hard and fast is really strong, and they have pretty good ultimates. Alex already popping his visor to try to see all of the enemy team, getting the pick on Soldier 76, and, you know, Nerdy already has his coalescence again, and Reyes with his Earth Shatter going into the second point. Looks like they're going to have really strong ultimates going into this next point.
Yeah, their ultimate economy is absolutely fantastic, and Alex finding that pick on Widowmaker is going to mean a lot for the team, with especially with the nano boost, or sorry, with the Zarya. Looked like she was nano boosted for a second there, but that wasn't in fact a nano boosted visor, but it doesn't matter because they're going to be able to find the picks with a normal visor there. The hammer down coming out of Reinhardt there, not managing to find anyone due to the Orisa shield, with Mr. Mage getting a big ultimate from the whole hog there. But it doesn't matter because Monkey's going to manage to pop that Tranquility with the Zarya ult coming on top of that Coalescence. There's worked so far of them in the past. It might actually work here again. There's Awesome Skill tries to find the pick, but it doesn't matter because Alex is going to be able to grab him there. And that looks like the first game is going to go to the Green Knights.
Yeah, I definitely, and a great use of ultimates from the Green Knights, being able to stagger them, you know, starting with the Zenyatta Transcendence, so they can, the entire team can push in, and going through into that point, noticing that the Zarya was really close to topping off her ultimate, being able to use that Graviton Surge and trap the rest of the team from getting onto the point.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic on the side of the Green Knights there. And I'm not sure what the Titans could have done there. There was just such clear communication and coordination coming out from the ultimate management on the side of the Green Knights that I'd say they performed that not flawlessly, but they were close to it.
Yeah, and having that extra season's worth of time to have that practice, we know that the Falcons, they did not play last season, whereas the Green Knights have basically played together all of last season outside of Haru here. And picking up Haru is just a great addition to the roster.
Yeah, Haru was able to find exactly what his team was looking for in that last round. And as you were saying, that this is the second season that the Green Knights have partaken in, whilst this is the first one for the Titans. And that could mean a few things. The Titans could just be nervous. They could not be used to the tournament pressure that the Green Knights now have become somewhat accustomed to, other than Haru. But Haru having all of his teammates to keep him calm and collected in the situation is probably helping quite a bit.
Yeah, and like we mentioned in the pregame, Kagazi on this Genji, on his main hero, I feel like it's in his shoes to kind of take the control of this game. He's the mobile hero. He has to be able to kind of dive onto this backline and take out threats like Alex, like D-Boy, so the rest of the team can assault onto the point.
5, 4.
Yeah, I do agree on that. And we're going to get into this first match now. And if we take a quick glance at the team comps, Alex is actually on Junkrat this time, deciding to choose it on the defense. And he's going to hide up into that high ground, just trying to deal out as much damage as he can and deny the space so that Reyes can get that hole off of Orisa and pull them, like I was saying, in and separating the team out as much as they can.
Yeah, I definitely like this choice from the Green Knights to set up at the front gate instead of what the Titans did last game. And instantly they're going to get a pick off onto Kagazi and force the res out of this Mercy. And Kagazi getting hooked in right again. It means that he's going to be 2 deaths on his team, and it looks like the Titans are going to have to back out and regroup.
Yeah, the Titans were very unfortunate there with the res obviously coming out from Toxic Gerbil there onto Kagazi, but he immediately got hooked again, pulled in and killed, which meant the res was down and Kagazi was nowhere to be found. Again, he pushes out, but he does manage to deflect the hook there. That could have been absolutely disastrous if he got hooked and picked out again. Dashing in into that backline with the assistance coming out from Mr. Mage there on the Winston. The shield managing to save him just enough to get that room and that space for the rest of his team to push in. And it's going to be an absolutely fantastic push. Sir Captain finds the pick on Haru.
Yeah, definitely a weakness. Never mind, they're just going to go straight into a fight with D-Boy popping his tac visor.
Yeah, and of course he's going to be popping that tac visor to make it so that they force them into the corner away from that line of sight, but that doesn't matter because Alex was ready to deal out that the mines there with the area damage and cleared up that fight fairly well. Kagazi ulting there, but it doesn't matter because Reyes is going to get the halt and completely deny the dash. Elephant Man and, of course, Mr. Mage still on that point, capturing it, though, and with nobody able to contest other than D-Boy running on, but he's going to get picked off immediately. That does look like the first point is going to go here. to the Titans, which could be interesting. We should be seeing the Green Knights regrouping.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to be actually be able to trickle Haru here, even though Haru knocks the D.Va out of the mech. But really strong play from the Titans, noticing that they have very immobile tanks on Orisa, on Roadhog here on this first point, and able to kind of dive in with their D.Va and their Winston and secure the point through that dive.
Yep, and now we should be seeing both teams regrouping and just trying to look. We could be seeing the Titans going for a couple of different angles here, but I presume they're going to favor going into that high ground, as that's where they like to defend, so I imagine that's their preference to play on attack as well.
Yeah, and just like last point, like I mentioned earlier, having these ultimates going into the second point is very important, but it looks like they're going to be able to match with a good number of ultimates on the Green Knight side.
Yeah, and Riptire coming out from Alex managed to find Kagazi with and awesome skills getting dropped down from the high ground, so his ultimate didn't come into his team's assistance as much as he thought he was going to be able to, but it doesn't matter anyway because Monk would have healed back all of that damage with that amazing Transcendence there, completely cancelling out any push that the Titans attempted.
Yeah, and a great Transcendence by Monk, and you know, all of the Titans used all of their ultimates there, while Green Knights are able to hold 2 or 3 here going into this next team fight, which means that they're going to have a really solid advantage. You know, they can hold the point once with just the tack visor from D-Boy, and they're going to have a really good time defending this second point.
And I want to say on the side of the Titans, I don't know if I agree with their tank, one of their tanks and both of their DPS pushing out without their supports. That could have been absolutely disastrous, as I was saying, but they are going to find that hole with Haru sneaking up behind them. He's going to be able to find the pick on Toxic Gerbil, and the whole hog coming out, getting deflected by Kagazi, knocking them off of that high ground and making it so they can make a little bit of space, but Alex positioned already, getting to deal massive amounts of damage, and Mr. Mage does fall.
Yeah, and it looks like the Titans are going to have to back up just because of the loss of one of their tanks and their Mercy here. And again, I want to see the Titans. They've been doing a really good job at optimizing their pushes and utilizing this dive comp. You know, I want them to build up their ultimates and try to force the ultimates out of D-Boy, out of Nerdy, so that they can use this Mercy ultimate just like they did just now. And D-Boy's just gonna pop his ultimate right now.
Yeah, up on that high ground, D-Boy was trying to force them into the rest of the team as they rotated, and Alex with that absolutely huge Riptire coming out of nowhere, gonna find Toxic Gerbil, managing to get Kagazi up with that one res, but of course Mercy can't get 2 people up anymore, so those 3 kills were absolutely huge. Kagazi popping that ultimate as he jumps in, managing to find 2 picks along with Elephant Man getting Reyes down. That means there's gonna be no shield for Green Titans. Oh, the self-destruct coming out from Elephant Man, trying to look for something. Alex does recall there to avoid it, and D.Va does fall. So far, it's looking pretty good for the Green Knights, managing to hold this point as more ultimates pop out, the Coalescence to try and keep everybody alive as they force the Titans to reset once again.
Yeah, Haru actually using his ult a bit unnecessarily there, with no enemies anywhere nearby him towards the end, which means a slight advantage towards the Green Knights at the end there. Alex switching off to this Tracer to be able to kind of split off from his team and deal some more consistent DPS. But I'd like to mention earlier, Toxic Gerbil popped his Mercy ult really early in the last team fight, you know, and because of that, they were able to kind of, you know, obviously they were able to assault the point a little bit harder with that extra healing, but it seems that like she didn't use the Mercy ult to the best of his ability initially because all of his allies were topped off going into that fight. And it looks like Mercy and Junkrat are going to fall again straight away.
Yeah, Alex actually switching over to that Tracer whilst Kagazi switches to the Junkrat, and Alex was just sitting behind them. He managed to find the pick on Toxic Gerbil. That meant that this side of the Titans had absolutely no res. They were lacking a major healer to keep their tanks up. And whilst that was happening, of course, D-Boy managed to find the pick on Elephant Man.
Yeah. I'm also kind of disappointed on this tank switch from the Titan side. You know, they were doing a really good job of, you know, utilizing these mobile tanks in D.Va in Winston to combat these immobile tanks from the Green Knight side, and now switching off to this Reinhardt and Roadhog. It looks like they're trying to go for more of a pick composition.
Again, Reyes actually missed his hook there and actually got pulled in by the enemy Roadhog on the side of the Titans. Elephant Man But he did manage to survive, regroup with his team, and find a kill on Awesome Skills, which again is just going to delay the time that the Titans have to push into that point with 1 minute 30 on the clock compared to the current 5 minutes 30 in the time bank at the side of the Green Knights. It isn't looking good for them.
Yeah, and it looks like the Green Knights are just trying to push out, knowing that the numbers are low on the Titan side, and trying to get a really strong trickle, meaning that they probably only have maybe two good pushes on the Titan side. You know, what do these Titans need to do to secure this point?
Well, currently we see in their ult economy, they do have the Sound Barrier coming out from Sir Captain and the Visor coming out from Awesome Skills. So I'd like to see them taking this high ground, even the mid ground, using that ultimate with the use of the Reinhardt shield, and just trying to find a pick. They need to kill Alex before Alex manages to find a pick on Toxic Gerbil or Sir Captain, because as soon as one of their healers go down, this is going to just fall apart. And with D-Boy, again, on that mid ground, like I was saying, he does manage to pop that ultimate, and he actually does find the kill with the assistance on of Haru onto Elephant Man, and it's just going to wipe them out. They didn't check the mid ground there, and that just let D-Boy hide, and as soon as they all pushed in and started getting picked off by the hooks, he just ulted and managed to clear it up.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. Haru even dropped off that top platform himself and got a fantastic hook, meaning that, you know, Titans now, they only have one solid push left. They have to push in as fast as they can and use this Lucio speed boost.
Yeah, they only have 10 seconds left on the clock, so now it's do it or don't, because no matter what happens here, it's going to decide the game. With Awesome Skills actually jumping down onto the point, using that Visor. Monk again, prepared to press that Q button as he brings in the Tranquility, keeping all of his team nice and healthy as they find 3 picks. It does look like this map is going to go to the Green Knights.
Yeah. And Green Knights doing a really, really good job of holding and utilizing, you know, even though they had these tanks, Haru did a really good job of knowing where to place his hooks and get these picks for his team. And D-Boy, really good job of using his tac visor and holding even just to defend the point most of the time.
Absolutely. And we're going to see the Coalescence coming up from Nerdy, managing to deal plenty of damage with the assistance of Haru's Graviton Surge there, and just clear out the team to allow them to take that point on their attacking side.
I couldn't have done it alone.
Yeah, and honestly, I think overall, we saw a really, really good ult usage from the Green Knights throughout the course of the entire match, knowing probably good communication from them, knowing that whose ultimates were up, when to use the ultimates, in which scenarios, and and that's how they were able to hold these points very strongly.
Yeah, and they did very well. They lost the first point, but they quickly came back together and just cleared out the Titans systematically, one push after another. And now we're going to be heading into Nepal for the second map. And I am curious, Haunts, what do you think? After seeing that first game, what do you expect the Titans to change here to try and defeat the Green Knights in their current dominant attitude?
Well, I think Titans did a really, really good job of showcasing how well they can execute a dive comp. And especially with a King of the Hill map like Nepal, dive comps would be extremely important. You know, they showed that they played Lucio well. They showed that they played this Winston and D.Va well. And Kagazi, really, really good job on his Genji when he was utilizing his Dragon Blade. I think it's going to be actually part in Alex's shoes. You know, he showed that at the end he could pull off a pretty strong tracer, and it's really important for him to use this tracer to be able to, you know, dash and blink around and get these picks on this King of the Hill map, because that's how most of the time you create advantages on points like this.
Yeah, and I just want to put the eyes for a second on Monk with his Zenyatta there. He actually kept a hold of Tranquility for every single offensive ult that the Titans could produce, especially when it came to Awesome Skills' visor on that soldier. It just completely denied him every single time. And that is fantastic ult management coming out from that player.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. A lot of times we don't really see supports being highlighted, you know, but Monk definitely playing a really great Zenyatta. And I'd also like to point out Nerdy doing a pretty good job of, you know, using his coalescences very well. It's kind of hard to play Moira in situations like this, because the coalescence, it's especially there are so many corners, so many tight corridors here in Nepal's Sanctum, and it's going to be hard for them to use that coalescence well, and I want to see how he does it.
Yep, I mean, we don't see the Zarya coming out from Haru, so we aren't going to have those Graviton Coalescent builds. But again, we see Kagazi on that Genji and Alex on the Tracer, and I think at the moment, with how these matches have been going, those two will make or break this game.
Definitely would agree, and looks like the Titans are gonna kind of go with a mix of dive and kind of immobile tanks here with that Roadhog Winston, which is, I believe, a really strong pick for them in terms of their tank line. Being able to create advantages with the hook, and being able to kind of secure big areas with this Winston.
Right, but you need to also take into consideration you have the Hulk coming out from Raze, which could just pull people off into that death pit.
Yeah, and it looks like the Titans are actually able to secure this middle ground here before the control point unlocks. While
Haru getting that hook on Toxic Gerbil is absolutely huge for the Green Knights, as they're going to be going into this fight in a 6v5, and I'm sure they're happy about that as Mr. Mage falls and the Hulk coming out hits Elephant Man, and that doesn't matter because Haru's going to get the hook as well. And again, the Green Knights just systematically manage to find pick after pick, no matter if it's using the environment or just their aim.
Yeah, and a really good job coming from Monk and Haru getting those picks and those hooks and boops into that pit of doom. Like you said, this is one of those maps that you have to be wary about this fall. Because especially since on King of the Hill, Lucio is so prevalent, and getting that boop into this pit is a huge potential.
Well, if we take a look at the actual team coming out from the Green Knights, you see Monk, Haru, Reyes, and D-Boy all having potential to knock them off into that death pit. So that's 4 out of the 6 characters that the Titans have to be wary of when they think of their positioning. And again, Haru getting that pick, but Sir Captain managed to punish him with that boop there, pushing him off of the map. But Mr. Mage diving into a 1v6 situation with D-Boy getting a huge ultimate out there, managing to completely turn this fight around for the side of the Green Knights as Toxic, Gerbil, Kagazi, and Sir Captain all fall to that Riptide. That was absolutely huge.
Yeah, and like you said, you were highlighting Monk earlier in the game playing the Zenyatta. Monk now doing a great job, probably getting about almost 4, maybe 5 environmental kills with just his boop alone in this game. And very, very strong play for coming out of this Monk player.
Yeah, and Alex is just behind them. He's just zip-zapping a bit around there with the Tracer Blinks, and they're not able to deal with him. They're trying the best he can, but as soon as he gets low, he regroups with his team. We see the Dragon Blade being popped out by Kagazi. He's going to be able to get low, but the Sound Barrier coming out from Monk is actually going to be able to delay a lot of this damage.
Yeah.
Kagazi's ult obviously falling out, and the Coalescence coming out from the side, or from Nerdy there, managing to keep his team up a little bit. A few people getting picked, and the point actually does switch over to the side of the Titans, which is good for them. But we should be seeing the Green Knights regrouping.
Yeah, and a great recapture of the point from the Titan side. And it looks like they're just going to be able to hold this pretty well, getting the res back on Kagazi. Awesome Skills also getting a pick on Nerdy, which means that they're down a support going into this offense.
Yeah, the Supercharger coming out from Reyes there, and the boop coming out from Monk means that Mr. Mage is going to fall, and the damage from Haru's whole hog here is going to be tenfold, as they manage to find a couple picks with the grenade, which his name has escaped me completely off my throat, but that doesn't matter because Haru and the side of the Green Knights have not been taken off their rhythm, as once again they find those picks, retake the point, and with 3% left on, it doesn't look like the Titans are going to be able to find it.
Yeah, Green Knights being able to secure this first point, but I definitely wanted to note, I felt like the Titans needed to play better against the Lucio. It seemed that almost every single push they had when they got onto the point, Monk was able to boop off one of their players into that pit of death.
Yeah, it didn't matter where they were coming from or who it was, because either Monk, Harry, Reyes, or D-Boy were able to find a pick into the pit.
Yeah, and knowing that composition and looks like they're gonna play to their strengths again. Monk switching off to that Zenyatta, knowing that this pit does not exist, and it looks like they're just going to continue assaulting this point with their generic style, but no Lucio pick coming out of the Green Knight side. Actually, both sides even.
Which is absolutely fine when neither team picks it, because that speed boost advantage doesn't exist. But we do see the Pharah from Kagazi, and as you highlighted earlier, when we were talking about the pre-match, we saw Kagazi being Pharah being Kagazi's second most played hero. So we should be seeing a lot of damage coming out, especially considering that the Titans don't have anything other than Alex to deal with it, really, unless Monk is able to find a few orbs onto her head.
Yeah, but it looks like Kagazi is just gonna go off on this Pharah, but it's like you said, it's gonna be in Alex's hands to be able to kind of take down this Pharah Mercy composition.
And this Pharah might be exactly what the Titans need, as it looks like for the first time yet, they're going to be able to find that point before the Green Knights.
Yeah, and it looks like D-Boy is actually going to switch off onto the soldiers to help deal with this Pharah.
And again, we should be looking at the Green Knights regrouping here, trying to deal out some damage, but they seem to be wasting Reyes' Reinhardt shield a little bit here, as he's going to be going into this point with it almost gone, practically. And the charge coming out, playing very aggressively, but the Pharah concussion grenade, but it doesn't matter because Reyes is able to find a 4-man pick there, and the Green Knights are just going to be able to, like I've been saying, one after the other. That was absolutely huge from Reyes, finding 5 men there, with Toxic Gerbil now falling. And that's going to be the point for the Green Knights. The Titans seem to swing back, but then the Green Knights come back punching like 3 times harder.
Yeah, I would agree. But coming into this next attack, you know, Kagazi and Toxic Gerbil both getting their ults almost to full. Looks like they might have a really, really good time sieging this next point. But
Yeah,
I would assume that after Kagazi uses his ultimate, actually going down, but after Kagazi uses his ultimate, he'll probably switch off just because of this soldier pressure.
And Reyes is one of those Reinhardts that plays aggressively. He makes these plays. He sets it up. He is the one going in there for that first frag, and he does manage to find it quite a few times here, and he's been able to set up Haru again. We were talking about the Zarya plays coming from him on the first round, and we see it again. We're seeing plenty of Gravitons coming out, and Monk with that Tranquility and Nerdy on Coalescence, both of the supports just being ready to heal up their team. If anything does seem to be going not their way.
Yeah. But now, Titans are going to be able to siege this next point with almost 5 ultimates in their bank. And I definitely know that, you know, Monk, we're looking at him to pull off a really, really solid Transcendence against these ultimates.
Yeah, and Alex is finding one pick, and is he going to be able to get another one here? He does have something in his crosshair. Awesome Skills does fall. We see the visor being popped, and he was just, nobody paid attention to him. He was just allowed to free fire behind the shields of the Titans there. And if nobody deals with him right now, he's going to continue to just spray this down as Toxic Gerbil falls.
Yeah, a great hook from Elephant Man to pull Alex off of that high ground, but Alex, you know, getting that Zarya bubble instantly as soon as he drops off of that high ground and hooking straight back up means that he has really good defense and really good team coordination to support this Widowmaker pick.
Yeah, Kagazi just saved his team, considering we saw once again the Coalescent Graviton surge coming out from the side of the Green Knights. Kagazi managing to shut down Moira Nerdy there, almost instantly, not allowing any of that damage to be done. But D-Boy's been saving his ultimate for a moment just like this, as he does find one pick onto Awesome Skills, and he's looking for a second one, the visor falling, but that doesn't matter because it was still well used. Monk using Tranquility here just to delay the point as much as he can, keep it for his team as they make their return back here and try and clear up this fight.
Yeah, and Reyes pulling off another great Earth Shatter towards the end of that end of this last fight, and Green Knights taking the win of the match. You know, 2 games out of 3 here.
Well, that's the set, because it is a best of 3 series, so that does mean that the Notre Dame Green Knights are going to take this.
Yeah, and great plays from both sides, honestly. You know, even though a lot of the times, you know, we see kind of one-sided matches, but now, you know, a great contest from the Titans here means that they can obviously know where they can improve. I really want to see this team kind of perfect their dive comp better, because they showed us on the first point of Hanamura that they are really, really good at pulling off this dive.
Yeah, of course. And with that being the final game of the day, we are going to start signing off here now. And you can catch the action every week starting at 3 p.m. EST on Tuesdays with Rocket League, Wednesdays with League of Legends, and of course on Thursdays you can catch some Overwatch. So be sure to follow official EGF on Twitter and Twitch for all the updates. It's been an absolute pleasure casting for you all. My name, of course, is Cavan Navik Dignan. You can find me on Twitter at Cavan Dignan. And Haunts?
And I'm David Haunts Chen. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Haunts. And thank you all for joining us today. We will see you guys next week.